Hello, Internet, and welcome to Nerd Break, the podcast where we take a break from life and nerd out about our favorite things. I am your host, Joseph, and joining me this week is one of my best friends in the entire universe, Zombs.
Need to cue the music.
Yes, we do. Now I just gotta find music to cue. But that's right. This is the month of Zombs, dear listeners. This entire month we are dedicating to everything that Zombs loves, from anime, music, video games, everything. But primarily anime, because anime is Zombs' official waifu. Let's face it, buddy.
As I have to look around and seriously think about that.
Do you really have to think about that?
I have to seriously think about what if anime was a woman, what would she look like?
Well, I think you have your answer if you look at any and every waifu you've ever had. See, it's not that hard to figure that out. But in any case, Zoms, what have you been doing this past week?
Oh, just the usual, making music, reading, um, concocting new drinks, and a lot of anime.
Oh yes, I can only imagine from all the anime that you've been telling us about over the past several weeks. What anime have you been watching, Zoms?
Oh my goodness, where to begin? Let me see. Well, I just caught up on, like, just today was Black Clover, and I ended up rewatching Rising of the Shield Hero. I rewatched Reincarnated as a Slime. I'm all caught up on Attack on Titans, and I did rewatch a movie for Seven Deadly Sins.
Oh wow, that is a lot of anime.
There's a lot more.
There's more?
Yeah, I just figured I'd take a breath.
Well, would you like to save some of that for the anime news, Zoms?
Not really, but if I must.
Well, you don't have to. To go over real quickly what I've been doing, though, I've picked Spider Man back up. I've been playing that a little on my PS4, making more progress on that. I'm still thoroughly enjoying the game, and I'm kind of drawing similar lines between it and Uncharted, which kind of makes sense as to why it sold so well.
What what's a lot of interest on in Spider-Man? What catches your interest?
Well, even though I die quite frequently, the story is pretty doggone engaging. Even though I'm spoiled, I already know how it ends. It still is intriguing. I mean, I did not know that they set up the Miles Morales game in this game at the point that I'm at, and forgive me if anybody thinks that this is a spoiler, but at the point that I'm at, they actually killed off Miles' father, which I did not know was going to happen. So they set that character up and his mother. You actually get to play as him, which I'd forgotten about. But then as I was doing it, I remembered that it's like, oh yeah, okay. I just didn't realize they had set up so much of that character in that game. But the world is really well built. I have a bit of problem with completing certain missions, such as when you have to capture birds. But the missions themselves, the controls, it all handles really well. But it really, when I think about it, it goes right back to the story. That sequence that I was just telling you about, where they killed off Miles' father, that happened with the whole setup for actually the main plot of the story. It's taking me this long, really, I think, to actually get to the meat of the story. So it was a pretty long setup. And have that one moment be big where there's actually an explosion at a ceremony, it's really kind of took me aback. I wasn't expecting it. So those kind of surprises are always nice.
So the new Spider-Man game or the one that you're playing, this is the first one, right?
Right.
It's not Miles Morales?
That's right.
Okay, so it's in the same universe as Miles Morales.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
At some point, I will get Miles Morales. I don't think I'll be buying it for the PS5. I'll probably buy it for the PS4 just because of the investment. And I'm glad it's on the PS4 actually for that reason. So when I do, I'll let you know though.
Yes, we must hear more about the Spider-Man.
Indeed. I've also been playing though, in the vein of anime a little bit. I've been playing Atelier Ryza some, which I've talked about previously. And I think that kind of supplanted a little bit at least Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. Kind of put that on the back burner for a little bit. But I still want to go back to it because I want to beat it for the story. That's really been about it though. How about we go ahead and jump over to a little bit of video game news? When I say a little bit, I mean a very little bit, because there's not much here.
Oh, well, lay it on us.
Well, the first thing is that after 25 years, a new cheat code has been discovered for Street Fighter Alpha 2 on the SNES, which is kind of crazy. This cheat code is almost as old as both of us.
So, I was talking with somebody about cheat codes the other day, and the cheat codes are put in by the developers, isn't it?
That's right.
So, if somebody had finally found out the cheat code and you said it was on the SNES,
Yes.
so dang, people are slow. What took people so long to find this cheat code? I don't know why not after, I don't know, 10 years, the creators just didn't start telling people, you know?
Yeah, I really don't know, but it was found by a programmer who did a dive into the code of the game and found it of all things. He was re, he's been reverse engineering the game, and during the process he discovered it, which is crazy.
What does it do?
Well, it unlocks the hidden boss in the game, Shin Akuma, as a playable character.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I wonder how many people are going to go back to find this. Everybody's going to head over to their local retailers and ask, "Can I buy this game for the SNES?" Like
Oh, good grief. If only it was that
they're
easy.
yeah. Then the worker has to explain. They're like, "Sir, we don't sell that game anymore. We stopped selling that game like 20 years ago." And then the person's going to reply that they're actually a woman.
Well, went sideways.
It's happened
Indeed. It sounds like it's something that's happened to you.
a number of times actually.
Well, what would be interesting is actually if they put this game onto the SNES app on the Switch, then we could actually try out the cheat code. Everybody could. That would be awesome.
Oh yeah. It's I just think it's so insane that it took so long for this to finally come out. It could have been lost in history.
It could have, but this actually has happened more than once. There are other games where it's taken a very long time for them to find things in them. It it's not unheard of. I mean, this length of time is really, you're right, it's really crazy. I don't know though.
It just makes me question, yeah, what other games are out there that people have not found the cheat codes for yet? Are there cheat codes for Cyberpunk?
Well, I don't think people want to play that game quite as much. At least not currently to, find the cheat codes.
I still want to play it.
Well, hopefully you will soon. In our next piece of news, Microsoft is asking for the Xbox Drift lawsuit to be moved out of court, which, for one, I didn't even realize that Xbox controllers suffered from drift, but evidently some of them do. And this lawsuit was filed back in April of last year, which is even more crazy. As long as you have an Xbox One, buddy, so you better watch out.
I do. Um, will I have to go to court as well?
Well, they're actually trying to settle this out of court through arbitration because there's something in the agreement, I guess, when people buy the controllers that makes it so Microsoft can't be sued over them. But it can be arbitrated outside of court for money or whatever. You probably don't have to worry too much though, because this evidently specifically affects the Xbox Elite wireless controllers.
Hmm.
So it's interesting to say the least. But evidently there was a flaw, a design flaw in those controllers that Microsoft didn't wind up disclosing, and that was the reason for the lawsuit. So you're probably safe.
I believe I've had the same controller for about 4 years, 4 or 5 years now.
I would say you're safe then.
Yeah,
The
seems to
Elite
be doing
controllers
pretty
were
well.
designed, yeah, the Elite controllers were designed differently. They actually had the ability that you can move around the parts and components and customize it to your own liking.
It is. They are pretty neat. I've used them before, and there's also the weight to it that I like
You actually got your hands on one of the Elite controllers?
on the version 1 and version 2. Yes,
Oh, wow. Interesting. Tell me more. I'm curious.
you just gotta know people or know when people are gonna walk down alleys at specific times.
I didn't mean about how you got your hands on one, just about how
Oh,
it felt. Your
uh,
your, your shenanigans you can keep to yourself, Zombs.
correct. We'll just have to edit that part out later.
Oh, that's
Um,
not getting edited out, Zombs.
we're gonna have to have another talk in private, brosive.
If you're
Anyways,
go- if
so
you're trying to eat my
yes,
brains, you can forget it.
the controllers are amazing. I primarily like the feel, uh, like just the grip on it feels really nice, as well as the weight behind it. Um, you are able to change out the thumbsticks to different sizes and whatnot, and I think it's great.
Interesting. Would you get it in place of your regular Xbox controller?
Yes and no. I believe it's all about how competitive you want to be.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, yeah, if you're gonna be playing online against other people, then chances are they probably have an elite controller as well. So, get it and then go toe to toe with them and then see who is the better player and then
You
challenge
know, if
me.
if they're going toe to toe with you, that means that you aren't respecting the 6 foot social distancing rules,
This is correct. Chemical warfare.
Oh, good grief. Moving on to our next news topic, and back in the vein of cheat codes, someone actually discovered a cheat code to Near Automata that actually completely skips the game.
So, it's a cheat code at the beginning of the game that sends you to the end of the game.
And again, this is by someone that has been known to reverse engineer games. They found a cheat code that lets you, after getting past the first boss, after you kill the first boss, you can then skip to the end of the game with this cheat code.
I imagine getting a book and opening up to the first couple pages, and then you read it, and then you skip to the last like 2 pages, and you read it, and then you're done.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's
Or
pretty much it. Which
or you go to the movie theater and you sit down for like 2 minutes. Set a timer, 2 minutes. After that 2 minutes is up, you get up and you leave and you come back and you watch the last 2 minutes of the film.
I think it would be a little bit longer than that. Maybe like the first, I don't know, 15 minutes of the movie and then like the last 5 minutes of the movie. That sounds a little bit more reasonable.
Either way, it's terrible.
Well, you do have to at least fight and kill the first boss. But evidently this could potentially help if you're trying to collect all the different endings in the game, which I don't understand how. But there again, I haven't played the game.
One time I went to go see the My Hero Academia movie in theaters, the first one, and I walked into the movie theater and it was the ending, and I was very upset. And I walked out and I had to look at my ticket, and I was, oh, I had walked into the wrong theater,
Zombs, I think you need help with directions, buddy.
or I think that movie theater needed help with numbers because it wasn't just numbered, like 1 through 16, stuff like that. It was like 1 through like 13, and then it jumped up to 15, and it went all over the place. I don't know how 22 got in there. It's like it's a hallway. How could you make this so complicated?
Maybe they were counting
I
by
was
feet or something.
maybe by zodiac signs or something. And I had my popcorn, I had my candy, my whole shebang ready to go. And I was looking at the numbers, and then I was like, okay, so just 1 through 13. And I turned the corner and I was expecting it to be the next movie at theater, and no, it's not what happened at all.
Are you saying that you were ruined on the movie because of a snafu?
I was a little bit it was ruined. I purged what I had seen from my mind and I continued on.
Good for you, Zombs. Good for you. Speaking of things that are continuing on, in our next news piece, the creator of Fortnite, Epic Games, is turning a shopping mall into its next headquarters.
Nice.
Yeah, shopping mall located in Cary, North Carolina, is dying, and Epic has decided that they're just gonna, plunk down a bit of that chunk of change that they've been making and buy it up, turn it into something usable.
Nice. I can only imagine what they would turn this into. Is they turning the whole mall into the headquarters or just parts of it?
Well, time will tell, but it wouldn't surprise me if it winds up being the whole mall. I mean, it's 980,000 square feet. That could be multiple different offices depending on how they renovate it and break it up. I mean, it would also make sense if they were to try to rent out some space or do some fancy arcade thingy. But time will tell because this is going to take a couple of years at a minimum for them to renovate it.
It's going to be so exciting because can you imagine going to the mall and they have like a Fortnite event day and you gotta Nerf gun each other to death?
That would be interesting. I wonder if we can get Moxie to go there and give us a review.
We'd have to get her to wear her plague doctor outfit. So I mean, there's a high possibility it'll work.
Well, all we can do is try at least.
I wonder if they're gonna have like the mall designed after buildings in Fortnite.
With the crazy stuff that they've done to promote Fortnite, anything is possible. But I was just thinking, imagine the food court. If they turn that into its own area for the employees to eat in, that would be awesome.
And scary.
Maybe a little scary. But think about it. You could have multiple different restaurants for employees to go to eat at. Could
Well,
be
what
a
about dance floors?
What about dance floors?
They
Are
should
you
have
saying
like dance floors so that the employees can do the dances and stuff of the Fortnite.
I just see that as being so troubling. So very troubling.
Can only imagine. Uh, I wonder who you'd like. What if you have to collect a key card from a specific employee and then use that key card to open up the vault? And that's where the CEO's office is at. He's got all the best guns in there.
You mentioned Vault, and the first thing I was thinking of is Fallout. That's a whole nother direction entirely.
So maybe, yeah, Bethesda can learn something from this.
Yeah. Only thing is Bethesda is owned by Microsoft now.
So I'm pretty sure Microsoft is fixing a lot of issues.
I doubt it, but time will tell there too.
I mean, I could only hope, but yeah.
In the next piece of news, for all of the Disgaea 6 fans out there, a new trailer was actually dropped, as well as they are holding a contest to win a copy of Disgaea 6 and a
Already
custom
entered.
Pro controller. Oh, I have two Zombs. I did it quite immediately upon seeing this. I didn't watch the trailer, but that contest and that controller especially, looks pretty doggone interesting. But the contest is really easy to enter. It's only going through the 31st of this month. So anybody that listens to this, take a look on Twitter for NIS America if you live in the United States or Canada, excluding Quebec for some reason because people in Quebec are special. I don't know why, but check it out on Twitter. You can enter through the 31st and well, actually, on second thought, don't do that because we here at Nerd Break want to win. So just disregard that. What, Zombs? Am I being
Mm,
selfish?
no.
Okay, I'm glad you agree then.
I was gonna say if somebody does join up and they win and you wanna give it to me, I will buy you ramen.
I'm sure ramen is a good replacement for a pro controller.
It would be consider it a ramen date with me,
Well, now you've
Zombs,
changed things. Now you've changed things entirely, Zombs. You've just
and we can
officially
talk
put it
about
out there.
anime and video games and how I should or how I will kick Brosep's butt in Smash Brothers.
Keep threatening that, Zombs, and yet I have not seen anything.
I've done it before, I'll do it again.
We shall see. But that controller would be pretty fitting for you, considering that the main character of Disgaea 6 is a zombie Zombs. Just saying. In our last piece of video game related news, the production of the PS4 consoles is being reduced in Japan to just one model. This is a sad day, Zombs.
For the PS4?
Yes. If you go to
Oh,
Japan, you will only be able to purchase the PS4 Slim and the PS5. Maybe.
that's better.
If you
It's
say
just
so.
how they get you to purchase, you know, the latest thing.
Yeah. At this point in time, I wouldn't buy a PS4 Pro anyways, just because there's not a lot of point to it. But this is interesting to say the least. They're ramping up PS5 production, at least in Japan, or trying to.
That's similar to what happened here with the Xbox One series, or the Xbox One X was stopped in development. No more producing those.
That makes sense. That console kind of got put out to kind of fail, sadly.
I thought it was pretty neat. Um, it was the fastest. Um, I actually wanted one myself. It's just that all the models that were for special edition that were getting put out were for the Xbox One S. So
Mm.
I ended up getting a couple of those.
Well, the Xbox One X came out like 2 years at the most before the new Xbox Series X and got priced at the same price point. So it was kind of a hard ask to say, hey, we already know that there's this other new console coming down the line at some point in time and probably very, very soon, but plunk down $500 on this thing. It's faster than the one you got. The other newer one will be even faster, probably, but this one's faster right now. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, though.
You are kind of a negative Nancy.
Nah, that's not fair. I think I'm very positive. It was a neat console, and it had a graphics chip in it that looked cool, but it was still $500 and kind of a hard ask. But that's it, Zoms, for video game related news. I think it's time that you give us all that wonderful anime news.
Ooh, but where to begin? I'm so excited.
Come on, Zoms. I'm anxious too. I want to hear some anime news.
Okay, so as we all know, Attack on Titan the final season started back in December 6th, and we've been patiently waiting for the first week of January here in America for anime such as Beastars Season 2, supposed to be released January 5th, and it was in Japan. Unfortunately, we don't have a date yet on when it's going to be translated or subbed here in the US, but I know people are working on it. I feel it in my soul. I have a feeling any day now, as I went yesterday to go look for this. I even checked again today. Something that's supposed to come out today The Promised Neverland season 2, uh, Funimation's blog said January 7th, but The Promised Neverland's official site says it will be up on the 6th, and that's today. So I went and I looked and I did not see it because I don't care what the blog says. I want the earliest date, whatever I can find, and it tells me the earliest date. That's the date I want it,
Zombs, you have to be patient, buddy.
and it's still not out.
You just have to be a little patient there. I'll keep my fingers and toes crossed, though, for you.
Thank you. Also, Seven Deadly Sins, Dragon's Judgment, supposed to come out today as well on Netflix. And again, nothing.
That's rude.
hmm hmm
Very cruel.
So today has been a day.
Day of nothing, it sounds like. Talk about me
Um,
being negative.
I'm keeping my chin up, and I'm waiting for the anime gods to show me mercy, in which they did for ReZero, Starting Life in Another World, Season 2, Part 2. Excuse me. Um, held true to its release date for January 6th, 2021.
Woo-hoo.
And I immediately got onto Crunchyroll and I watched that episode, and it only had me wanting more. I have to wait a whole week.
Tell me more, Zombs. Tell me a little bit about what happened in the episode. If you can do it, maybe
Well,
without too
currently,
many spoilers.
yes, I will. I will just say that it still has to do with the main character, Subaru. He's in this place called the Sanctuary, and one of the female characters is there, and she has to go through a trial. But it's a difficult trial. There's a lot of emotions that play a part in everything, and all I can say is uh, we may or may not have lost a character,
That
somebody who's
sounds
been there.
very.
It sucks. I'm not going to go into anymore. You got to see it. You got to see it with me. Send me an email at our Nerd Break podcast, and let us vent about it to each other.
I am curious, Zombs. That sounded very, very ominous. I kind of want to go watch it.
You should.
Maybe someday.
Maybe tonight.
I don't have Netflix, so it definitely isn't going to be tonight.
Go to no, it's not on Netflix. It's on Crunchyroll.
Oh, well, I don't have Crunchyroll either.
Hmm. Go ahead and watch it for free, and you just have to watch many, many, many commercials.
Okay, how do I watch it for free, Zombs?
Just go to the Crunchyroll website, type in ReZero in the search bar, and start watching.
Oh, okay. Well, I could do that.
Yeah,
I did not know that I could watch it with commercials for free.
you can. It'll just suck.
I'm okay with commercials, though. A little.
And then tomorrow we have other shows coming out, like the Quintessential Quintuplets Season 2, Heaven's Design Team, Laid Back Camp Season 2, Cells at Work Code Black, and Cells at Work Season 2. Um, so everybody, there's so much to look forward to. I'm so excited. I don't know how to contain it all.
Now,
I need a drink.
that's all just this week, though. There's more to come still over the rest of the month, right?
There's so many anime coming out. So today's January 6th. I mentioned for January 7th, we've got a list for January 8th, 9th, 10th. Nothing on the 11th, but the 12th, 13th, 14th jumps up to the 20th. Then into February, we've got the new Prince of Tennis, February 13th. We also have High Rise Invasion. And in March, I'm just waiting on this one, we've got the new season for My Hero Academia.
Oh, wow. That's not too
Mhm.
far away either.
Nope. And the last one that I'll mention on the list, this one I have to look into, but I believe it's This for many of the people who have seen the old original for Shaman King. I guess there's a new one coming out April 2021. I believe it's a reboot.
Oh wow, I remember that. I remember watching Shaman King there for a while. I'm curious now about the reboot.
Yep,
Interesting. Thank you for telling me, Zombs.
I know. I'm finding it very, very hard to contain my excitement. Pretty sure you can see it on my face.
Yes, it's not telling in the least at all, Zombs. Not telling in the least at all. Does that do it for the anime news this week, Zombs?
It w- it will. I'm tell you. See, I lost a hand, so I've chewed off my hand in anticipation.
Doesn't that hurt a little?
You get used to it. Hands grow back.
Only if you're a zombie, evidently. You do realize, though, just because the anime news is over, doesn't mean that the anime is over completely. Because you know what time it is, don't you, Zombs?
No.
It's time for our.
Big topic.
That's right, Zoms. Every week we have a big topic to discuss, and this week is no exception. But you, dear listener, can tell us what you would like for us to discuss as a big topic in a future podcast. Just drop us a line at nerdbreakpodcast at gmail.com, and we may use your idea or read your listener mail in a future podcast. This week's big topic is Zom's favorite animes. This is not a top 10 list. This is just an open discussion of some of Zom's favorite animes of all time so that we can get a better idea at what Zoms likes to watch. Well, let's face it, it's probably filled with waifus.
No. That's not completely true.
Not completely Zoms.
Eh.
So tell us, Zoms, what's one of your favorite animes?
One of them.
One of them. Out of all the different animes that you've seen, what's one of your favorite animes?
Uh, I'll name I'll name one. Yeah. Uh, I am excited for ReZero. I was waiting for this one, so I will say ReZero is one of my favorite animes.
What makes it one of your favorites? I'm curious. Because I've heard about it before and I've seen a few of the games that have come out for it.
Um, it's the curiosity on how the character will uh, come back. Long story short is yes, the main character basically when he dies he resets to a specific point. In the beginning, it's when he had first arrived in the world, and so he has to try to figure out like how to progress further with the best possible outcome. So I'm not gonna lie, there are a lot of things that I would have done differently, but it kind of his mentality kind of breaks a bit, so keeps him on edge and kind of very emotional.
So he dies more than once and then goes back to try and relive life again, to die again to repeat the cycle to each time make progress further. That sounds like an interesting premise to say the least.
It is very interesting. I There are just some things that he does that I probably wouldn't, such as he gets to a point and he needs to reset, so he just kills himself.
Okay. Yeah, probably wouldn't do that myself either. Thank goodness it's only an anime.
Oh
Now I'm
yeah.
curious, is there a waifu in it for you?
Yeah,
Waifu counter one.
but I won't tell you who it is.
No, why not?
I'll leave that for the listeners to try to determine. They'll never get it.
If I can get it before the end of this podcast.
No.
All right, well, what's another one of your favorite animes, Zoms?
I will read from I'm gonna see what we got going on in this list. Another favorite of mine is Beastars.
Moxie has talked about that a lot as well, and I've seen a little bit, and I can say that that one is really good. But what do you like about it specifically?
I think it's intriguing how they've taken a problem from our modern day society and they've disguised it. Um, basically, like I want to say segregation almost. You've taken like racism of today and you disguise it in the form of animals and you see how they handle certain situations. The best way I could describe Beastars is like Zootopia, except in high school. There was a murder. They somewhat try to figure it out, and you see the different diversity of the characters, with being some are like in the animal kingdom, prey and predator, and they disguise racism that way, a modern problem in this anime, and I really enjoy seeing it portrayed that way. And I
I
definitely
am
recommend Beastars.
okay. I have another question.
Okay.
Do you have a waifu in it?
Uh, I'm gonna say there is a character specifically that touches my heart. Is is she a waifu? Uh, eh,
Waifus 2, Zombs 0.
Waifus are strong. They're hard to defeat.
Uh, what's another one of your favorite animes, Zombs?
Uh, Another one that I had mentioned earlier. This one is new. I was told about this one originally, and I did have it on my list, but I'm going to say The Promised Neverland is one of my favorites.
What's it about?
Um,
Or why
this
do you like it?
this one, I'm gonna say it's kind of like I want to say like a thriller survival horror-ish kind of anime. Basically, it kind of reminds me of like olden days, like old English days, where these kids are in an orphanage, and the orphanage appears to be in the middle of the woods. But all we know outside of the woods is like there's this gate that the kids are never supposed to go to. Um, and eventually the kids do get adopted, but when they are adopted, it's kind of weird. Um, they are taken at night with their one suitcase and their jacket, and the only person to run the orphanage, uh, the one lady, um, takes the kids at night and she takes them to go meet their foster parents. You think that it's in olden times, but then like when they take tests, it's it's on computers, but it's like futuristic computers. So it's kind of weird. You get some questions and everything, and then you find out that one of the kids who had just recently got adopted, like the same night, uh, their doll was left. So the two oldest kids decide to take the doll in the night, and they go and they find the child that was supposed to be adopted. Their bodies kind of like mangled in a way in the back of a truck where that gate was at, but now the gate is open and they hide, and this like monster comes out, and it it's just so hard to describe what this thing is, and the children end up escaping, but they end up leaving a hint behind that somebody was there, and now the lady in charge of the orphanage is trying to figure out what kid or kids knows the secret.
That is scary.
That
Is
is
that
the
why you
first
like it?
season. Yep. I do like it. Mostly the kids, from what you gather, are whatever these monsters are. I guess they eat the brains of the children, but the children have to be like their brains have to be very, very developed. So that's what the computers are for, is they try to develop these children's brains, and the teacher, I guess, works for these monsters, whatever you want to call them. And these kids, the ones that or the oldest right now are so smart. It's just the way that they think, and they get into situations, and you're just like, "Oh my God, I could never think of something like that."
Interesting. Very interesting.
Very interesting.
So I'm going to ask again, is there a waifu in this one for you?
This one, I'm gonna say no. If I had to like seriously sit and think about a waifu, I could not. Also, like all the kids are like 10, 11, 12 years old. So other than that, there's only a handful maybe of adults that are
This one,
shown, but
the way you were describing it, this one didn't sound like it had waifu material in it. So waifus 2, Zombs 1. Alright, Zombs. Two more animes that you love. What are two more animes that you love so that we can wrap up the podcast?
two more animes. Okay.
Yes. Are there any
Uh
classic animes that you love?
I can throw back to some classic animes. Yes, I'm gonna say one of the first animes that I had ever gotten into was uh, Outlaw Star.
I've heard of that one and seen bits and pieces of it.
Yes, Outlaw Star. Um, when did that? I believe that came out in '98. Um, Basically, what it is it follows uh, two people, Gene Starwind, um, and his best friend. I'm trying to remember. This is really taking me back. Well, anyways, so it follows Gene Starwind and his friend Jim Hawking, um, and they're on, I think it's Earth. So this is in the future. They have spaceships and space battles and stuff like that. And long story short is they find like this suitcase. There's a girl inside. Her name's Melfina, and they get this ship. It's like supposed to be this amazing ship, and in order to pilot it, one Gene is the pilot, and Malfina has to sit inside this tube where she's connected to the ship. Um, she's naked in the tube, yes, and yeah, very very kinky ship, but and they go on space adventures.
So, outside of the naked lady in the tube, what is the reason why you love this anime?
It's the characters. I love the characters. A lot of them are very different. The way that they come together, there are some very comedic characters, very serious characters. Um, the weaponry that they use, Gene is not a fighter. Um, he's not very good with guns, and he's a decent pilot, but he overcomes so many obstacles, and it's really great to watch. A lot of the times, very inspiring. Um, even he even has this really cool blaster, and it uses special ammunition, and you put in the bullet, but bullets are numbered, and each one does like something different. So because of that, uh, like you just want to see what the different numbers do. Finally, at the end, they do have some that were like this the fabled number for the ammunition, and it's pretty crazy.
It sounds like it. The whole anime sounds kind of crazy, but I'm intrigued. I want to go watch it.
Good.
Of, of course, the last question is there a waifu in it? But I'm automatically going to tally a waifu number in here against Zombs because he described a naked lady in a tube. So I am sure that is a potential waifu there
Uh,
for Zombs.
uh, you know, is there a waifu in there? Yes, yes,
Well,
there
there you
is.
go.
That's all I'm
See,
gonna say.
three in the waifu column, one for Zombs for the
One of
official
the very
tally.
first. She has a special place in my heart.
I wonder why. All right, Zombs, one more anime before we wrap up the podcast. What is one more anime that you love?
One more?
One more.
Okay. This one's a twist. One of the original anime that I had seen so long ago. Um, I'm going to say Dragon Ball.
Just when I was thinking we were going to steer clear of that, how about for any of the, what, two people left on the entire planet that has potentially not seen it? You tell them what it is.
Okay, I said Dragon Ball, not
Yes, I
This is
know.
before Dragon Ball Z. I've
Yes. Well,
actually
I
talked with
actually
a lot
know.
of people. I've talked with a lot of people who have not seen Dragon Ball.
Okay,
Um,
well,
a, a, a lot of people have started off in Dragon Ball Z. Uh, I started with Dragon Ball, and I thought it was hilarious. Goku. I think the whole thing it was just meant to be a comedy. I was actually talking with one of my friends the other day, and I said, uh, he was like, "If you had super strength, what would be a good way to get around?" And I said, "I'd pick up a tree out of the ground, I'd uproot a tree, and I would throw it, and it would fly like a spear in the air, and I would jump up onto the tree and just ride it like a surfboard in the air."
I'm sure there's some way that that is not physically possible, but okay.
There's a character in Dragon Ball who does that. It, we were just talking about that, and he was like, "Is that where you got that from?" And I said, "Yes, exactly where I got it from." So that's the running joke for the rest of his natural life. Um, and it was just all the situations that they get into. Uh, I remember one of the first wishes when they summon the dragon, Shenron, and they have to come up with a wish, or they're trying to stop him from being summoned. They don't stop him from being summoned. So one of the characters makes a wish, and keep in mind this, he interrupts the person asking for the wish, and this character is a pervert, and he asks for the world's most comfortable pair of underwear. And everybody's like, "What's going on?" And Shenron is like, "Okay," side sweat tear. He's like, okay. And he's like, "So be it." And then he disappears and falling from the sky in the air falls the apparently the most comfortable pair of underwear in the world, and it is women's panties. So the character, very confused, puts them on his head, and he's, wow, these are very comfortable.
I can't say a whole lot here, but Zombs you know, the next question is there a waifu in Dragon Ball for you?
I'm gonna say that there there could be, yes, not right away, depending on if if you've seen the entire series, even in GT. So I'm talking about Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, now Dragon Ball Super. Uh,
Well, let's just simplify this. Just the Dragon Ball series, not the Dragon Ball Z and the whole aftermath of that. Since you were very specific earlier to say it was just Dragon Ball. Is there a waifu in Dragon Ball for you?
shoot, this is a tough one. I want to say yes, but I want to say no. Let's just agree to disagree.
I'm not agreeing to anything. Since I have to be the moderator here, I'm giving you the point and the waifu point don't get point. So it's 3-2. Zoms just barely squeaks out his sorta kinda argument at the beginning of the big topic. But I think that does it for this week's big topic. Perhaps next week we will continue with the discussion of Zom's favorite animes, because I have a feeling that this could go on for quite a while. Am I wrong, Zoms?
Hmm, I'm not gonna say you're wrong. I'm not gonna say you're right.
For that, I'm going to add an extra point to the waifu column. But that does it also for this week's podcast. As always, you can submit listener mail to us at nerdbreakpodcast at gmail.com. Ask us anything, suggest anything. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you'd like to play video games with us, or watch anime, or whatever. But as always, thank you so much for listening. on behalf of myself and Zombs,
Sayonara.
thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
And now we just have to wait. We
Yep.
got to record a bit. Got to